Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. Overdoses in Steuben and Chemung County continue to climb into this year. Tonight, our Maggie Hall reports on the opioid crisis and how it's impacting this area.
Drug overdoses have an impact on our nation. However, what some may not know is that the overdose crisis is a very real and present threat to our local community as well.
And so 22, which means that basically 2 out of every 3 days, there's someone who is experiencing an opioid overdose.
So what does an overdose look like?
So if someone's like unresponsive, if they look like they've passed out, if they're perhaps, having some irregular breathing, if someone has been using or is typical use for them.
Spreading information and awareness helps battle the opioid and overdose crisis.
I mean, it's important because people are dying. People die every day to the disease of addiction. And, a lot of stuff goes unseen. A lot of people don't reach out for help because of shame and stigma attached to it. And being a person that's in recovery myself, I know when I was in active addiction that I felt alone.
The Steuben Prevention Coalition's opioid committee will be placing Narcan boxes across the county. Narcan is a life-saving medication that can reverse the effects of an overdose.
We want to make these as readily available and as normal when seen as AEDs, fire extinguishers, right? Like these are all life-saving measures.
For more resources on the opioid crisis or for help in recovery, you can contact the Steuben Prevention Coalition at 607-368-5921. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
A Big Flats man charged with attempted murder and assault. Theodore Swan indicted by a Chemung County grand jury. Police say Swan attacked Joseph Hartford on Berkshire Drive on January 20th. Hartford suffered a collapsed lung and a heart injury. The police have not determined a motive for Swan's alleged actions. Heart disease continues to be the #1 killer of Americans. In honor of Heart Health Month, Big Fox's Josh Feldberg spoke to a cardiologist to raise awareness about heart disease.
The heart is one of the most important organs in your body. Keeping it healthy can help prevent you from developing one of the many forms of heart disease.
I think people don't realize, but heart disease and vascular disease, meaning blockages in other places other than the heart, is the #1 killer for women in the Western world these days in the United States, and that's over cancer.
Lynn Swisher is a cardiologist for Cayuga Health. Dr. Swisher told Big Fox what some of the warning signs for heart disease are.
Well, the risks in women are the same as in men, but high blood pressure, smoking, diabetes, high cholesterol, genetics, so I will quip that having the wrong parents can be a risk factor. Additionally, being overweight, inactive, sleep disorders where you don't get enough oxygen called sleep apnea.
One way to get ahead of any potential heart disease is to start limiting risk factors sooner rather than later.
Well, when you're younger, middle-aged, seeing a doctor, you're a regular non-cardiology doctor, and looking into, could I have any of those risk factors? Is my blood pressure controlled? Is my weight where it should be? Is my sugar good? Do I have an inherited cholesterol problem? So asking those questions so that early in life you can start taking measures to optimize them.
According to Dr. Swisher, the best way to improve your heart health is to change your lifestyle to include a better diet and exercise. For those with genetic predisposition to heart problems, starting medication early goes a long way to delaying or avoiding future vascular problems. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Ithaca.
A local nurse for Arnott Ogden Medical Center has been honored with a National Medical Award. Patrick Pearl won the Frontline Clinical Nurse of the Year Award from Press Ganey. Pearl was nominated for the award for the compassion he showed his patients when families couldn't visit their loved ones during the COVID-19 pandemic. Elmira Mayor Dan Mandel announced that going forward, February 14th in Elmira will be known as Patrick Pearl Day. Those with poor cell service in Steuben County may notice they now have a better signal. AT&T added a new cell site in the town of Jasper. The new cell site will boost network speeds for those in the area and will give more clients access to mobile internet. Tragedy in Michigan after a gunman opens fire at Michigan State University. Mike Tobin is there with the latest from police.
Our Spartan hearts are broken.
At least 3 students are dead with another 5 in critical condition after a gunman opened fire on the campus of Michigan State University Monday night.
Another kid that I know, he left his phone in the cafeteria because he ran out so fast, but he said he saw multiple people get shot.
The gunman, identified as 43-year-old Anthony McCrae. McCrae dying of a self-inflicted gunshot wound several miles off campus after an hours-long manhunt. Police say he had no affiliation with the university. A community tip ultimately led police to the suspect.
We cannot thank the public and the community and the person who called in that report enough for being observant, for following our messaging, and for being vigilant and contacting us immediately.
The shooting began in an academic building on campus before the gunman moved to a nearby student union. The campus went into full lockdown with students sheltering in classrooms, dorms, and cars.
The toughest thing is just not knowing. Like, I didn't know what was true or what valid information I was getting, and I was definitely terrified.
4 of the 5 injured students required surgery overnight. Doctors encouraged by the response of their staff in this tragic situation.
I want to thank the overwhelming response from our team. We received a lot of texts that were just, I'm on my way, just within people showing up, where do you need me?
All classes at Michigan State have now been canceled through Monday. In East Lansing, Michigan, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
8 people are injured after being struck by a man driving a U-Haul truck in Brooklyn. Sharon Crowley has the latest.
Security camera video shows the driver of this U-Haul running a red light at 72nd Street and 3rd Avenue in Bay Ridge, hitting the moped without ever slowing down. The truck next jumping the curb and driving right onto the sidewalk in a busy shopping district, narrowly missing another person.
I live here 35 years. I didn't see something like that before.
Police arrested the driver of the U-Haul after blocking his truck on the sidewalk at the intersection of Columbia Street and Hamilton Avenue in Red Hook. The Associated Press says the man police arrested is named Wang Soor. His son telling the AP his father has a history of mental illness. The AP also saying he has prior violent criminal arrests for stabbing his brother in Las Vegas in 2015.
At this time, we have no indication that there is any terrorism involvement in this incident.
New York City police towing away the U-Haul after processing this crime scene in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and 6 other locations where the driver of the U-Haul hit people. What investigators are working to figure out is why this driver would do something so reckless and put so many people in danger.
Turning to the economy now, a key indicator on inflation is out today, and it shows Americans will continue paying more at the gas pump and the grocery store. Edward Lawrence is at the White House breaking down the numbers.
It's not all love this Valentine's Day, with the economic numbers coming out hotter than expected. The January Consumer Price Index showing goods and services rose 6.4% year over year and 0.5% since December.
We're putting our resources in not very productive places, and that is not going to be good for long-term economic growth.
These rising prices eating into Americans' pockets, with energy, food, and shelter the biggest contributors. Food prices jumping 0.5% in January and more than 10% over this time last year. The hardest hit products, eggs. The price tag on a dozen of eggs increasing 70% year over year.
We have to find ways to get food prices under control.
The biggest overall contributor is housing, up 0.7% on the month and nearly 8% from a year ago.
Congress has got to get to work on driving forward of policies towards affordable housing. If we focus on core policies here in the United States, we can really make a dent here on driving inflation down.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell recently acknowledging disinflation has begun, but adds there is still a long way to go to reach the central bank's desired 2% inflation target.
He also said that it's going to be a bumpy ride. So this is definitely bumpy, but being committed to 2%, that means that there are going to be probably looking at further rate hikes.
The Federal Reserve indicating they will need to see a continued decline in prices before they pull back on raising interest rates to fight inflation. At the White House, Edward Lawrence, Fox Business.
Stay with us. More news plus your complete forecast next.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
It was a gorgeous spring-like day, and we're not even halfway through February. Now, I hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day, but we are talking changes as we head into our Wednesday. We note that we are increasing cloud cover, but we're also increasing temperatures. We're looking at temperatures at 38 degrees here at midnight and then climbing to 42 degrees. Now, not surging those temperatures, but that upward trend will continue into our Wednesday, and we'll detail those highs here in a moment. But note that the temperatures are warming due to the momentum of that southerly wind. Now, the wind is going to be pretty breezy. We'll have wind gusts that will be getting upwards of 25 to 35 miles per hour out of the south through much of the day. A little bit of that wind churn there coming by the end of the day will be the passage of a cold front that will pull winds back into our Thursday morning. But with that southerly wind intact through much of the day, it's going to bring breezy winds at least 15 to 20 miles per hour, gusts 25 to 35, but it jumps our temperatures to 64 degrees. Records on the line locally and across much of the Northeast with this warm plume that's pushing in. Now, mentioning partly cloudy skies for the area, note there may be a few showers, especially early morning hours. Not expecting much for coverage, really just a sprinkle or two and then some sunshine around there for sunset again. There's that cold front passage coming into Thursday morning, but as it starts to push in, it does dissipate pretty quickly as we will see an arriving low pressure system move its way in. So we'll go from to high temperatures on Wednesday, hitting that record threshold. Now, as that cold front drops in into Thursday morning, it dissipates and allows for that southerly wind back in store for Thursday. So again, we're talking widespread, very mild temperatures. A few degrees off, but still could maybe see a few isolated records with still 60s on the board. Westfield 53, Wayland 57. Now, although Thursday has these mild temperatures, note that we are going to be battling the increasing cloud cover to start the day, and then by the end of the day, we'll be bringing in some shower activity. And that's going to be along that warm front that is building in those mild temperatures. Now, this is going to be the proximity of that low pressure system towards about sunset. So there will be a severe weather risk, but due to that severe weather risk holding off towards the west through sunset, we'll see that there may be some rumbles of thunder we'll mention into Friday morning. However, some changes are still possible, so we'll watch any changes. But by Thursday, we'll get on the backside of that low pressure system, which means cooling is on the way. But we'll have another chance to at least bring in some measurable rainfall. Maybe even a flurry or two will be possible Friday as that cold air moves in. Not expecting much for accumulation, but cold air advection will take place. And note that we'll drop to about 16 degrees for a low Saturday morning, so a chilly start to the day. But as we have been through much of this winter, a mild trend works its way in, and we are back well within those 40s and 50s as we head into early next week.
Walmart is pulling back its tech expansion. Small business confidence ticks up, and Fox scores a Super Bowl ratings touchdown. CJ Papa has those stories and more in today's Business Briefs.
Walmart is closing tech hubs in Austin, Texas, Portland, Oregon, and Carlsbad, California. The Wall Street Journal says the company will pay for workers in those locations to transfer to other primary offices, such as the company's headquarters in Bentonville, Arkansas. Before the closures, the company had 11 tech hubs in the U.S. and 6 in other countries. Small business confidence improved last month. The National Federation of Independent Business says its index rose 0.5% in January. More owners are predicting better business conditions over the next 6 months. Inflation is breaking hearts and busting budgets this Valentine's Day. Gift wrap is up 16.4%, while flower prices are up over 6%. More than half of Americans will spend roughly $200 on their loved ones this Valentine's Day. And Super Bowl 57 was the third most watched show in history, with the largest viewership in more than 6 years. Around 113 million people tuned in to watch the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Philadelphia Eagles, but the biggest ratings coming during Rihanna's high-flying halftime performance. More than 118 million people watched the halftime show. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
A lot of us are experiencing sticker shock at the grocery store these days, but it might actually be cheaper to eat out. We're seeing all over social media, younger people are becoming very cost conscious. And they started cooking at home to save money, but food prices got so expensive they're now saving money by eating out again. The proof is in the data. Food at home rose 11.3% in the past year in the latest inflation data. That's versus 8.2% at restaurants. One TikToker even tried making a Chipotle steak bowl at home. It cost her $13 to buy it at the restaurant, but about $15 to duplicate it at home. Still ahead, a Louisiana nonprofit is helping law enforcement agencies all across the U.S. with criminal surveillance. We'll show you how it works coming up. A Louisiana nonprofit is helping law enforcement agencies all across the country with criminal surveillance. With fewer officers on the streets, the organization is using security cameras to keep more eyes on high-crime areas. Rebecca Castor shows us how it works.
Inside the building behind me, over 10,000 video feeds from across the country are streaming here instantly. And we got to look inside this nonprofit to see how it's helping police agencies fill in the gaps while they're still struggling for manpower.
This, of course, is one of our monitoring rooms. You're currently seeing cameras from different parts of the country, California, Florida, New Jersey, and then many points in between.
Former New Orleans police officer Brian Lagarde is the brains behind Project NOLA, the largest network of community crime cameras in the U.S.
The job's tough. We see a lot of bad things. We see some of the worst that humanity has to offer. Part of what makes it worth it is knowing that we're helping justice be served.
Using AI, the cameras alert Project NOLA if they pick up illegal activity, and law enforcement can review video. Any homeowner, business owner, school, or church can request a Project NOLA camera for free, only paying a fee of about $300 a year for cloud storage.
Business owners, residents are realizing the importance to help their local law enforcement. It is a community effort that you cannot, especially with manpower issues right now, law enforcement, it's virtually impossible for them to do it alone. They need the public's assistance.
These are cameras Project NOLA is allowing us to show publicly for this story, but oftentimes their team is in this room watching cameras in crime-ridden neighborhoods with gang violence and drug deals.
We get to know them pretty well by watching what they're doing, who's controlling them, as we're helping to work up cases on them.
This year alone, Lagarde says the cameras have helped law enforcement on hundreds of cases. And with violent crime spiking in New Orleans, business owners say the cameras are crucial.
If every business in the French Quarter had a camera on the street, that is incredibly valuable.
There is no American dream if you don't feel safe. I absolutely think it's one of the best solutions possible.
When we talk about video surveillance, people often wonder about privacy. Because Project NOLA is a nonprofit, it does not sell any of its data and only provides videos to law enforcement.
Scientists may be closer to developing an on-demand form of male birth control. Researchers have seen promising results after testing the male birth control drug in mice. Studies suggest that the drug deactivates the SAC enzyme, therefore slowing down the movement of sperm and preventing pregnancy. Study authors from Weill Cornell Medicine in New York say the drug could be a, quote, game changer for contraception. Their work suggests the drug can be taken as needed and was found to be effective at preventing impregnation in the first 2 hours after taking it. Researchers say the body mass index of school-age kids is declining thanks to a government initiative. A study published in JAMA Pediatrics shows the implementation of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010 led to a significant decrease in BMI scores for kids ages 5 to 18. According to researchers, offering healthy school meal and snack options is a key area to combat childhood obesity. This study shows the shift in BMI was consistent across all household income levels, as well as males and females. Stay with us. We'll have more after the break. We want to leave you with a smile. Couples from around the globe flock to the City of Love to celebrate Valentine's Day. Many visited a popular spot in Paris, the Alexander Bridge, which crosses the River Seine and overlooks the famous Eiffel Tower. One couple from the Netherlands who got married on Valentine's Day came to celebrate their 3-year anniversary and brought their little girl too. Russian couple Antony and Nadine Sekin are in Paris celebrating their first year together as husband and wife.
It's our first year after wedding, I promised my wife to show her Paris, Paris, city of love, you know.
To mark the Day of Love, some Paris museums, monuments, and parks host special events, and many restaurants offer a Valentine's Day menu. I'm Scott Beadle. Thanks so much for watching.